Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you could hear me, guys, because I'm testing out new tools and new equipment. Oh no, no sound. Okay, sorry guys. Sorry. What about now? Can you hear me now? Oh no. Okay, hang on one quick second. This is weird. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Yay! Like I've mentioned, I'm trying a new equipment and new software. The whole point of doing that is kind of up my game a little bit so that you guys could hear me better and you can see me more crisp. So I also don't want to waste your time, right? So let's start this all over again. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Holly Lee. I am a career coach, past life recruiting leader from Amazon for about 6 years, and I've worked for a lot of the major company as well as a couple startup, specifically in Silicon Valley and also Seattle, two of the primary tech hub. My passion is to help you get hired in your company of choice. In this case, everyone has reached out to me regarding their interest on Amazon. As a promise to my YouTube community in my every Tuesday free live career coaching at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I've mentioned that because a lot of my audience are now international. Yay! I have Asia, I have Europe. So I'm trying to come here a little bit earlier than my usual time and just get a feel of who would show up on the weekend. And of course, I didn't exactly tell anyone that I'm doing this. I literally sent a note 3 minutes before going live on LinkedIn just to move a lot of my network to my YouTube channel. So if you're here, if you're new, please put new in the comment. If you are not new, put down what position you're interviewing for and if you know the level, so that when I'm giving you a feedback, other people who are here, I'm happy to even have like one of you show up without even making any announcement. But I think 3 of you are here. Yay! It feels great to not talk to the wall. So today I am all yours. I wanted to provide my best tip and strategies to help you with your Amazon job interview. But please, guys, keep in mind that this is not just for Amazon. This is for any employer, okay? Hey, Doreen, there are 4 people who show up. All right. So let's get started. Let's see here. You know what? When I mentioned... Oh, and by the way, if you have not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification. When you hit the bell notification, you don't ever get an email from me. This is all Google's doing. They will send you an email as I'm coming live like this. Okay, that's what the bell notification is. And I do pump out more content outside of my live stream. And the reason, guys, that I haven't been doing it in the last 2 weeks, my last video was the writing exercise. If you're level 6 plus, go check out that video. The Why Amazon video is actually one of my favorite one, because I'm trying to be as authentic as possible to telling you guys why I love my time at Amazon and why it's not a good fit for certain professionals. It's not any company, right? It's not just Amazon. It won't be a good fit for just anyone, okay? So go check out Why Amazon and the writing exercise. I'm waiting for until end of the month or so when I move back into my... I know, it's a hotel. Professional, right? I have the bed in the background. I made the bed for you guys. I kicked my child out this morning to his nanny because he needs some interaction with another human being at the park other than his mom. So once I have my studio back, my home back, I will be able to pump up more video and do more of these live stream, okay? Also, let me know in the comment below, for those of you who's new and returning folks, if this is something that's adding value to you and you like this. I would love to do this twice a week versus once a week, but different dates and time frame, okay? So with that said, let me make sure I'm in frame. Cool. So, SAP 1117P, and I know that's not your name. Holly, I have a virtual interview, which is a loop, meaning on-site interview, round schedule with Amazon. They asked me if I want to participate and have informal 30-minute discussion about the Amazon culture. Is this normal? Absolutely. Normally, your recruiter would have informal 30 minutes to make sure if not just you're the right culture fit for Amazon, but is Amazon the right culture fit for you? Okay. Also, it is an opportunity for the recruiter to prep you for the next round, which is the on-site interview, the on-site interview loop. It's a great opportunity for you to ask questions prior to the interview. For example, is there anything you can share about the technical environment, assuming that this is a tech role, or environment in general? Basically, what am I getting myself into, right? And also, for those of you who are here last time, I actually created a template for my Career Accelerator Masterclass on the type of questions to ask towards the end of your interview. Yes, I'm thinking about you guys. To the hiring manager, to your peers, or the bar racer, say yes on the bottom. Just say yes template, and I will email you the template or via LinkedIn after the show. Okay? So that is completely normal. Well, now that I have you on here, I can't get rid of you. Okay, there you go. Oh, the joy of live streaming and testing out new tool. I have not seen anyone talk about this anywhere. It's a hit and miss, right? Not all interview questions or process are going to talk about. People are normally going to talk about their experience when they interview at Amazon or the whole process. And majority of the time when they talk about their process on Glassdoor, you guys, if you follow any of my video, I love Glassdoor. I'm going to talk about the STAR method, but not too much in this video. It's Saturday. I'm just waking up here, not waking up from my sleep, but just waking up and zenning in to this. So I don't want to dive too deep in storytelling today, but today I wanted to talk about a different topic where you're adding value in a certain way, and I'll talk a little bit more about the type of questions that you should ask the interviewer and how you should be prepared. Okay, you never had an interview with the recruiter. It was a one interview with the hiring manager and another individual. Now I'm on the final stage. That's great. By the way, let's give SAP 1117P a clap here. It is huge, making it to the final round or making it to the on-site interview. And the reason why you're having interview on different dates and not 4 or 5 people in one day is because it's virtual. No one is rushing to a conference room where they're not forced to book a full conference room for a whole day. This is actually a good thing for you. Not rushing in scheduling on-site loop. It's a good thing because the interviewer is allowing themselves to have more time to prep in interviewing you. Okay? And the same thing with you, right? You're not overwhelmed and you're not talking to 5 or 6 people all in one day. That's just not a very good candidate experience as well. Okay? Hey, John. John, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me on Saturday. How are you? Well, you're welcome. Okay, what question you got for me, John? John says, my interview is coming up a few days and I received my schedule. It is typical to have the hiring manager and another person interview at the same time. It's not a common thing, but it is not, I'm sorry, let me rephrase myself. It is not common, but it is normal, okay? Generally, when you have more than one person interviewing you, that means the hiring manager has a new hire in his or her team and they're trying to ramp up on adding more calibrated interviewer. Calibrated interviewer meaning they want to expose the new employee. It could be someone moving internally into that team. Certain teams have little different on expectation, right? Because at the end of the day, the scope is a little bit different, even though the skills are the same thing. So they wanted to make sure that the interviewer get fully calibrated and know the right questions to ask and what type of answer to expect, and looking at the hiring manager's style. And in the future, to help the hiring manager jump on interviews where he or she could be doing their job and save meeting or interviewing you for the final stage or the on-site process. Okay? I hope that answers your question. Hey, Camilla. Camila says, live was scheduled a few days ago. I just hit the reminder button and it reminded me it would be today in 3 minutes. I know, I love it. That is a joy of love. Once you hit the reminder button on my live, it usually remind you either a couple minutes or as I'm going live. That's what hitting the notification and also hitting the reminder means. It's awesome. Honestly, if there's no one here today, I really don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'll just stare at the wall and give you the best tip possible, but it's more added value when I actually have an audience that are here. Hey, Hassan from Germany. What time is it from Germany right now? So what I have in mind is I wanted to do a really early stream as early as 8 a.m. on the weekend, and I want to keep that schedule primarily on a Sunday. And let me tell you why. Because no nanny in their mind will want to, wake up at 7 a.m. and come and take my kid just for a few hours, okay? So that's why, just giving you guys a sense, when I work with my clients on career coaching perspective, I take my job and my work very seriously. There are some that are very, very nice. They don't mind having my son in the background, but for me, it's very distracting and I can't let go of my customer or even like with you guys until I am completely done answering all of your questions where I feel that I'm adding value to you, okay? And yes, I am extremely obsessed with helping all of you. That is why when I stream, the earlier the better when he's still sleeping. And I'll be around for as long as he's asleep. On my Tuesday, again, normally I have a nanny. If I don't, I'm still going live regardless because a lot of people interview on Amazon. Your job is not going to wait for you. Okay. The better well prepared you are, the more likelihood of you passing your interview is much higher. So John, you're interviewing for a senior solution architect, I guess level 5. I wouldn't say level 5. So anytime when you have the word senior and the job position as an IC, which means individual contributor position, is a level 6. Okay, a level 6 is generally someone who has 6+ years of industry experience. Okay, so I'm assuming that you have over 6 years of experience. Normally, what I've seen is about more roughly 8 to 10 years that would hit the level 6 bar because the expectation is very high. And if you are interviewing for a senior of any kind position, the likelihood is you need to watch my writing sample video because there will be a writing exercise after the phone interviewed. If everything goes well and the recruiter gets a thumbs up from the hiring manager or the person who's interviewing you, they will send you a writing exercise, and you typically have about at least a week or so to complete that prior to the date of the on-site. It will take the recruiter anywhere between a couple days, sometimes a full week, just to schedule the loop because it's based on availability from everyone who's going to interview you, okay? And when they schedule the on-site interview, generally they will schedule a debrief right after. So this is actually a smart move for from Amazon's perspective because they want to kill all birds in one stone. That is good. But one thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure that you have the writing exercise. It's been a hot topic for me lately. That's why I made that video. It's good for you to spend at least a week to write it, rewrite it, go through, make sure grammatically you are being as perfect as you can be. Make sure that you use the STAR method. You have to use the STAR method. All of the behavioral questions, including writing of any shapes of, I can't talk this, my shapes or form, is through the STAR method, which is creating your situation, okay? You have 2 options in the writing exercise to choose, okay? The first question, usually it's around, let me give you an example. Tell me a time where, tell me about the most innovative project that you've been involved in. What did you do? How did you dive deep? How do you think big? How do you execute? And what was the end result? Or tell me about the biggest failure in your career. So those questions could just be any of the most commonly asked interview questions. Like I've said, in my Amazon Leadership Principle playlist, I basically put all of those questions on there. Any of those could be part of your writing exercise, which are very similar questions. You just have to write it within 2 to 4 pages. My biggest tip for you, I wanted to pause and talk a little bit about the writing exercise because I've been getting a lot of that. I spent all of this weekend so far reading my messages on LinkedIn. Thank you for your notes. And a lot of people are asking me about the writing example. You have to, first, you need to understand I can't give you tips based on responding to your message on your LinkedIn message. And if you need my help, all of my private services are on my business page, which is also on my LinkedIn. It's my contact information is so easy for you guys to find me. Okay, I do offer private coaching, but you need to make sure that you carve out your story. So if you are going to focus just on your writing exercise, you might as well focus on knowing the leadership principle very well, because any answer that you give either during an interview setting or on your writing example, it has to be around the leadership principle. Okay, if you don't know what I mean by that, go look up my previous live stream. I made it so easy for you guys where I've actually rewatched the entire 2-3 hour show every week, and I actually write out the questions with the link that brings you straight to the answer where you're not wasting time. There are a couple of those that mentions the writing exercise and what on earth is the leadership principle and how do you create your story. Okay, everything is there. Basically, I've created playlists for everything you guys needed to know to make your life easier. Hey, Rahima, how are you? I think this is your first time. Love your videos and all the tips. Oh, you're welcome. I have an upcoming interview virtually through Chime as a data scientist role. It's entry level. Could you please provide some tips? Absolutely. So data scientists, I personally have not recruited on data scientists, but I have managed a team that does for Alexa. And also, aside from the level and the position, if you can, tell me what team you're interviewing for, because there is a big difference between consumer electronic, like the Alexa or the Kindle versus like the AWS, all right? So you're comparing software and hardware. So the skill is a little bit different. In general, for data scientists, if this is a phone interviewed, they just need to know the foundation of the fundamental as a scientist of your technical experience. Can you really walk the talk, and do you know the components of the data infrastructure, for example, right? For on-site, it's a little bit more complex. On-site is based on your ability to answer even technical questions using the STAR method, combining the leadership principle. But primarily, everything you see on the job description under requirement and preferred requirement, look at those technical skills, right? I will focus more on the technical skills because once you can prove that you're able to solve problems in that environment, you can answer a lot of the other questions, okay? And when I talk about the STAR method with technical question, yes, that is correct. I have coached software engineers or just technical coaching on system design architecture using the STAR, because before you start coding, right, even a scientist solving a problem, you need to figure out what problem it is that you're trying to solve. So before you start coding, in your mind, you already know what the result looks like. So a little bit different between technical and non-tech behavioral question is, on the tech side, you need to know what the end result is and then work backward and start solving that problem or producing your code, okay? That's the best example I can give you for a data scientist, and know your space very, very well. And if you don't have the technical environment, I can't help you. Okay? Hey, Gloria. So Gloria is actually the only person that was my last message on LinkedIn before I went live. And I literally told her that, hey, I'm coming live right now. Jump on and I'm all yours. And she's here. I love it. I love it. Thanks for being here. Oh, thanks, John. Hey, Sergio. Sergio says yes, template. Okay. I apologize if we already connected on LinkedIn and I don't recall going through your name because there's a number of Sergio as well. I will reach out to you later on today and send you my interview question template. All right? And Camilla is interviewing for learning and development third party seller IC6. First interviewed, what should I expect for the timeline? Well, I think it's really different from different recruiters, a different recruiting leader, and let me explain why. When I first started at Amazon, which is many moons ago, about 8 years ago, 7 years, 8 years ago or so, the interview process takes about 3 weeks to a month to execute an offer because the recruiter really drive the entire process, right? They're the one who's responsible partnering with the business team, like the hiring manager, and getting their team fully calibrated to interview you guys, right? So the quicker the team is fully calibrated and there's a process in place, again, I will hold the recruiter accountable for that and their recruiting manager to put the right plan. You would think a company like Amazon or Google is actually have the same consistency process over and over again because they don't have the amount of product and services like the Amazon. So it varies from team to team. So for me, my team, for instance, with Kindle, with Alexa, and with Consumer, I can talk to you today and put you to a phone interview. You can get an offer within 2 weeks. 2 weeks max. So that's my expectation. So generally it takes about 2 weeks. So I'm going to say 3 weeks because everyone's really different. It shouldn't take you more than several weeks. And if you've been connected with the recruiter, meaning they reach out to you for the first phase, which is a recruiter call, generally after every 2 business days, you will hear back from the recruiter, unless that has changed. Do not quote me on that. And guys, keep in mind, everything I'm sharing with you today, I try to keep the data as updated as possible. I do have a great relationship with a lot of my good friends who are still at Amazon as a recruiting leader and event planners, hiring managers on the business side. So I do defer back to them to keep me up to date on a lot of this stuff. In a sense, I feel like I'm still working for Amazon on the download. Okay. So they have the 2 and 5 promise, meaning every 2 business days within the 5-day gap period, they have to get back to you. 5 days meaning business days. Okay. So don't be nervous. I have a lot of questions on Holly, what to expect on the recruiter call. I haven't interviewed for a while. I'm really rusty. The recruiter is not technical. A lot of them, the good ones, should have an experience of knowing what the environment is that you are getting yourself into by asking the hiring managers, right? But not all of them do. A lot of them wanted you to really highlight why you're interested in the positions. Some of them, I'm watching my word of what not to say here. I've been in this industry for about 21 years. There's good one and there's bad one. I can put my hands up of the good ones. Okay, the good ones will really prep you for the next step, to walk you through the entire interview process, to give you guys information of the hiring team, and also answer all of your questions. And the good one will also ask you a couple questions to not waste the interviewer's time, right? For example, if it was me, I would say, let's just use the data scientist as an example from early on, right? Could you walk me through a project that you've recently done that you're really proud as a data scientist? What did you build from the beginning, from the beginning concept to perception? Can you walk me through your process? That is allowing me as a recruiter to understand, okay, this data scientist is not just academia smart, meaning you're not telling me or explain to me what theory is like. You actually know how to build and develop the product from scratch, whatever the scope is for the job. If the scope calls for AI or machine learning, in this case, or modeling, a lot of the data scientists require some shape or form of modeling, right? Again, it has a lot to do with what team you're interviewing for. If you give me example on that, how you put it together, how you built it, how you executed, and how you are collaborating, who's your customer, right? If you paint out the whole picture for me, even as a recruiter, some of the common reaction that I get from like candidates like all of you guys is they're shocked. They're shocked that I'm asking them questions, and they're confused if I came from an engineering background. I don't come from an engineering background, but I do have a computer science degree, and I thought my first job would be an engineer. But for some reason, I ended up to be in recruiting. No regrets there, but it's good for a recruiter to come off. And I know that I do get a lot of HR and recruiting audience now. If you're watching this live video, you have to do a thorough job in learning a little bit more about your candidates and really prep them for the phone screen. I know that step hasn't been done because they're all coming to me asking me to prep them for the phone interview. That is a recruiter's job. I repeat, it is the recruiter's job. You need to make sure your candidate is confident and comfortable, because if they bomb the phone interview, you're not getting that higher credit, right? Recruiters are also being measured by offer accept, not how many people they have on their pipeline. It's the end result. That's for all company and not just Amazon. Okay? I feel like I have to preach for a second. Oh, here it is. Here's some ML questions right here. Sergio says, my loop in 4 days. Well, congratulations, by the way, for making this far with Amazon. For ML is machine learning specialist. SA usually means senior architect. Level 6. Have 5 rounds. I have to make a presentation. Any tips? My examples are good, but some not related to the job. Is that okay? Also, tips to make this great. Sergio, usually if you have an example, I would try to talk about as relevant to the job as possible. Obviously, if you don't have experience relevant to the job, then you can't, right? But if you don't, just try to be as relatable as possible. At the end of the day, the interviewer want to be enticed by your experience. They want to see what type of machine learning have you done. Okay, I actually, in my years of recruiting, I have never had a business team that asked for a presentation before, unless it's a PhD scientist. Unless it's a research scientist, then yes. Normally, those individual needs to make presentation, basically walking them through the theory on how they brainstorm, gathered the informations, and how they build the technical environment and how they execute, right? So for ML specialists, I haven't been through that before, but I'm pretty sure that the recruiter should, if they haven't already, give you some tips and strategies around what is the expectation. If they haven't already, make sure you ask the recruiter, what is the expectations, okay? And generally what I've seen with any type of presentation, like a common one is UX, UI design, where they have to put the portfolio together, aside from the research scientists. The hiring manager will take a look, and oftentimes they're good people. They'll give you feedback prior to your onsite and say, hey, this is not what we're looking for. Do you have anything along like ABC this side? Okay, so the interviewers are great people, and it's about asking the right questions. When in doubt, ask. Okay, don't waste a whole week in putting something together that is completely different from what they're expecting out of you. Hey, Satendra. Satendra says, good evening from UK. Hey, it is after 8 p.m. here. My third interview is on Tuesday with the hiring manager. Many thanks to all your fantastic. Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. Thank you for spending your evening with me. I miss Europe. I used to travel between Europe and Asia at least 2-3 times a year. So hopefully when this coronavirus is over, we'll be able to do a lot of that. And because my work is right now working for myself, I could stream anywhere. Okay, you don't know. There will come a time that I'll be streaming behind your backyard, in your backyard. I can't talk this morning. Maybe I need to upload more coffee prior to coming on here. Josus, did I pronounce your name right, Josus? You said, I'm preparing for my second phone interview prior to the loop for an HR position with Amazon. Woo! HR in the house. Now, a lot of you mentioned, I get a lot of, Holly, you're in HR. I'm actually not in HR. I'm in the HR org or staffing org, but there's a big difference between recruiting and HR business partner or HR in general. Thought I have to mention that. What's the purpose of the second phone interview? The first one was with the hiring manager. I've actually I had a really good discussion in the last Tuesday's live. If you go to Amazon interview tips live, that's the playlist, right? If you go in there, if you look at phone interview tip or interview process, you click on the link, it brings you right to that. So generally what I've talked about there is, and because you're spending your weekend with me, I'm going to be redundant a little bit here. Generally, it's one phone screen and one on-site only. One on-site meaning a loop of 4 to 5 people. If you have more than one phone interview, that means you did not answer the phone interviewer all the questions, or they have, I don't want to say concern here, they have questions or gray area where they're not comfortable to bring you in for a full loop. It's not just about wasting Amazon's time, it's also protecting your time. Okay, that's why you have 2 phone screen. So before jumping into the second phone interview, I would try to ask the recruiter for some feedback and see what are some areas that you could improve on, or what is the expectation that you should be focusing on to your second phone interview, because you really don't want to go to the third interview. And I do get some of that, especially in the last live. Okay, on-site is the same scenario. You want to have, unless your on-site is 2 people here, 3 people there, it's different, but you don't want to interview with 4 or 5 people, basically a full loop, and then an extra, more loops. Okay. Again, the recruiter should set that expectation and let you know, by the way, you'll be interviewing with 3 people this day and 2 or 3 people the next day, and not giving you the whole agenda. And if they don't do that, let's just say that you talk to 4 people and you have to come back and talk to another 3 people. That means there are information that they're missing from you, they're not getting, and they want to make sure they have enough data to evaluate your background for the debrief so that they can give you that offer. Okay? Hey, Maureen. Hi, Maureen. I love it. I get super, super excited when I get diversity of any kind, shape, or form on here. And let me explain why. Every single week, and this is very dear in the heart to me, I have so many messages of you guys telling me that you got a job offer from Amazon, and some of you have multiple offers because you're interviewing in split loop, and I love that. That stuff really motivates me, and that's just from people who are showing up every single Tuesday. Now, some of them do schedule a private interview prep with me, but a lot of them are also here. Okay, so keep on showing up, ask your questions, and I will answer them all for you. So Maureen says that she has a loop coming up with 5 people. Any tips showing excitement with the entire day? Well, look at me. Take me as an example. Normally when I come to live stream, generally prior to coming to any stream, I had already spent 3 hours with my VIP client, and then I jump on here. Right? Because time is really precious, especially in the morning, and I start my day at 7 a.m. for East Coast and also Central Time, even international clients, right? How do you keep yourself pumped? That's because you need to tell yourself how badly you want the job. And why do you want to work for Amazon, and why do you want to work for that team? In my case, I'm pumped because I want to get everyone hired. I don't care what your background is. The odd is, if you have a pending interview at Amazon, there's something about your background that they really love, and I'm here to help you get that job. I'm so pumped. Just the thought of the end result and working backward in helping you get there. Okay? So you have to find, and I know it's easy said to be done. I know that many of you are very anxious, even the ones that that I've spent 3-4 hours, half a day with my VIP clients. But you know what? They end up getting hired. So don't be nervous. The more you have created your story in answering the leadership principle, answering the question, right? And creating short story for all of those leadership principle, maybe not frugality, because I just don't see that as an important factor, but it's all you guys, right? As long as you have short story and you follow my instructions on every single one of my video. And for the Amazon leadership playlist, don't skip through them. Okay? The purpose of any of my video is, as you all know, like this live stream, it takes hours to give data out, and nobody wants to spend hours in watching each and every one of my video. And my live stream, for those, are really short. They're about 15-20 minutes. Do not skip them, because I'm telling you exactly what to do. There are some video where I'm walking you through Glassdoor and telling you exactly how to pull up interview questions on Glassdoor for your specific role, like engineer, software engineer, technical program manager, area manager, operational manager. I've done it. There are tutorials where I've walked you through in how you message to find a mentor or message directly to a recruiter. How do you know who's the right recruiter for you if you're networking and you're not getting any any leeway, right? And you should never put everything in one basket. You should always look around to see how your background is a good fit for Amazon, and not just that one specific role. Be careful of applying to 50 jobs at one time. Make sure they're relevant, and I would pick the top 3. Okay? That's how I would prepare myself for any interview. You need to have your story. If you don't have your story, go check out my STAR methods video. I know it's my second video. That's like almost a year ago. It's pretty bad. I have no clue what I was doing. I hate being in front of the camera, but I've done it. The content is there. But if there's anything I can coach you guys on, if you look at my Amazon Leadership Principle, there's a link on there from Dave Anderson. Dave Anderson is a GM at Amazon. He wrote an article highlighting the 14 leadership principle and the expectation of how you can pass your interview with example. Okay? I'm really spoon feeding and giving it all to you guys, and you in return have to do the job for yourself. All right? Maureen says, I prepare questions specifically for each person. It comes to the hiring manager, assuming they'll only have 5 minutes. What type of questions should I focus on? What do you mean, assuming that you have 5 minutes? For each interviewer, it's usually about 45 minutes. Normally towards the last 5 to 10, 15 minutes, depending on how well the interview goes, right? It's not a bad thing if you're able to answer questions and you have 15 minutes to kill in the end. That's a great time for you to build relationship with the hiring manager or the individual to learn more about the team. Again, say yes template on the below if you want me to send a list of questions that you should ask the interviewer. Okay? And John asks, I have to give a presentation about one of my project. Is that a replacement? Hang on. Is that a replacement for the writing exercise? Well, it depends, right? If you have to give a presentation, then I would have to ask the recruiter to clarify that. I think it's kind of crazy to invest all your time with the presentation, and on top of that, it's a red mark right here. Oops. Anyway, carry on. I want to make sure that you're not wasting your time to do both, so I would ask the recruiter to clarify. Oftentimes, your presentation is different from the writing exercise because you're not writing, unless the presentation is about the whole process, where you're also implementing STAR into it. Okay? Ask and seek to understand so you're not wasting a lot of your time. Maureen is interviewing for, man, AWS is in the house. They're hiring crazy right now. AWS have always been a non-stop beast in hiring. I don't ever recall them going through any kind of hiring pause at all. When it comes to job security, there you go. It's all about the AWS. Could you please provide some tips for AWS business development? Ironically, I've recently helped 3 business development leaders for AWS. I would say know your cloud infrastructure or your cloud platform very well. You don't need to build the cloud per se, but you need to have obviously the technical environment, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look at the job description, the portion, and look at the technical environment. You need to be able to explain fluidly as a business development. Who did you partner with and collaborate with? And what was the environment of the problem that you're trying to solve? Obviously, all of you guys should know that you should always have an example of your professional failure, a time that you have failed, it didn't work out to your liking, and how did you fix it. The how part is really powerful in the STAR method, which is your action plan, right? What had happened and how did you try to solve the problem, even though you didn't have a great turnout, but how did you get there? Were you able to think deep and were you able to dive deep and think big? I'm really trying to think about the customer perspective and why did it fail and what could you have done differently. Okay, you have to give an example of that. I would be surprised if the interviewer does not ask you about that, or even a time where you didn't see eye to eye with your manager or customer. You're welcome, Ashman. Thanks for coming back. Long time, right? It's only been Tuesday. Let me try to, I can't move this right now. I'm just going to leave this right here. Okay. Rahima says, I'm doing good, Holly. Yes, it's my first time. It's for AWS security team. Yeah, security and business development is hiring like crazy at AWS, and also solution architect. It's the loop interview. Thank you so much for the tip. I will make sure to work on all the things you said. Well, you're welcome. See, this is exactly what I mean. The biz dev, account management, or sales is on fire. I have no idea the level. Can you help, please? I have over 11 years experience. If you have over 11 years of experience, then you're most likely interviewing for at least a level 6. Amazon will not have someone with 10 plus years experience and have you in as a mid-level. Okay, they would not, because if they do so, there's no career growth for you, and they don't see you doing a work at a senior level. So most likely you're going to interview at least for level 6 or 7, which is principal or senior manager having direct report. For an IC, it would be principal. Okay? Yep. And you could simply just ask the recruiter, what level is this for? Oh my God, Anlu, is that you? So Anlu is one of my very early on when I started my weekly Tuesday live stream, and it hasn't been that long. I think this is my 4th one. She's been coming around for 2 to 3 times and got an offer at Amazon. And I love seeing folks who either my customers or the one who comes back every Tuesday, because this stuff really pumped the audience that are here. Okay? I have so many questions from all of you guys, and I've been preaching until the cow comes home. But like I've said this again, and I'll say it again and again and again. Okay, and please, my fellow men audience, don't take this the wrong way. Every single one, 99% of my clients so far who receive a job offer are women of any diversity. And again, don't take this the wrong way, but they are doing exactly what I'm asking them to do. Anlu, for instance, she created a spreadsheet of the 14 leadership principle, her answer, the questions, the STAR method. She's done every single thing that I've been preaching to you guys. Nothing that I'm saying here that I'm not saying for a paid client. It's the same format, right? It's just that you're getting quality time with me and I'm reviewing your work. You don't even need that. I'm not being greedy here. I'm giving you simply free service that you could do it on your own. That's why coming back every Tuesday is really important with added value. And I do get a lot of pushback on the STAR methods. Holly, I feel like I'm getting rushed with the STAR, and you talk about answering questions in a minute or less. Yes, you can, because I do this every single day with my clients. I take everything that they're saying in 15 minutes and transform that in 30 seconds or less. I'm not even you. I'm not an architect. I've never been an architect, but I understand the technical environment. I understand what the hiring manager is looking for. I understand how Amazon's hiring process works, and I know exactly what they're looking for. Okay? And I've also taught for Amazon for 5 years, so I know exactly what they want and what they look for. And I think coming from a recruiter background and coming from a computer science degree and coming from a QA, this is so long ago. I don't even talk about it in my resume or LinkedIn profile. I was a QA specialist. I've done some SaaS programming before my very earlier 20 plus years ago. So I know what to look for. That's why a lot of this stuff, guys, you just got to listen and do the work. Again, my diverse audience of women are killing it. Men, if you're out there, I know a few of you are watching right now. I know that 60% of the folks who's watching my YouTube channel out of the 4,300 are men, and the 35-40% are women. But those are the ones that are killing us. Don't just watch, implement and do the work. Do the work and come up here. This is a challenge for all of you guys, and tell me you've done it and you want it, you've aced it. Happy Saturday to you, Anlu. Thanks for supporting me. Hey, Mike the Man, you were just here. Great effort for all. You're welcome. I love hanging out with you guys. I really enjoy doing this. Hey, Ashma, I have a loop coming up with 4 rounds. You know what? I didn't realize that I could actually make this big or small. I know, silly, right? Pay for a program and don't even know how to use it. Okay, I have a loop of 4 coming up. and I'm preparing for the leadership principle question using your video. Can you give any tip to show up strong? If you could please send me the template. Sure, I'll send you the template. And if I'm assuming that we have already connected on LinkedIn. I remember seeing your name. The tip that I've given you, or the tip that I have been giving all of you guys, you need to create short story, and you need to do it on, I'm a big fan of Google Docs or Share, right? So like the biggest advice I can give you is create a share spreadsheet where you can go in and have all the leadership principle, your short story. You don't have to put an essay. Just put the short story. What is your situation? Basically, what are you talking about? Your task is, what problem are you trying to solve? Okay, and your action result is, how did you do it? And then your end result is, what happened? Tell me what happened. Don't talk about things that have no return on investment or no result. You want to come up as many positive results as you can. If you don't, that will be a good example of an area where you have failed, or an area that you wish you would have done better. Okay, that's why having short story, creating them, allowing you to go back and look at what pops and what doesn't. Okay, if you look at your short story, if you look at what the role calls for in your job description, okay, now what do I need to add in there that's relevant to the technical environment? Now, some people may disagree on me, because I do every now and then receive comments on my YouTube video that, they feel like they're being rushed, or they can't come up with relevancy. Well, because you need to start somewhere. How do you know if your answer is not relevant to the Amazon job you're interviewing for when you only have one story or two? Or if you think that you don't have any story at all, well, then you need to start. If you truly have no example, then I don't believe it. I will call BS on that, because the recruiter and the hiring manager likes your resume. If they like your resume and LinkedIn profile, the odds are you have meet at least 50% of the requirement based on the buzzword you put on your credential. Now it's time for you to shine, to prove that you can walk the talk by creating your story. You see where I'm going? Okay, so for anyone who tells me you don't have any stories at all, I don't believe it. Oh, it's a little blurry. Oh no. Okay. There you go. Okay, I'm back. Alua, hey Alua, thanks for joining your video. Oh, you're welcome. I have just one question. I have an upcoming team manager interview with Amazon. I would like to ask, how would answer to why Amazon? Well, first I need to ask you, Alua, have you checked out my why Amazon video? If you haven't, go check out that video. I have examples on there so that you know, to drag it out of you as to why you want to work for Amazon. Okay, check that out. Everything is in the video. It's only, I think, 6 minutes long. All right, don't skip. If you skip, you'll miss the important part. Hey Katie. I love that you're covering your mouth. A new follower in Seattle. Yay! You know what? My current is closed, as you can see. I'm not sure if it's raining today. I'm going to assume that it's raining right now. I love Seattle, coming from the Bay Area, because I feel like sometimes there's a lot of crazy. Even prior to COVID-19, I think the rain kind of keep all the crazy meaning, people walking on the street without even looking, cars going by and cars going crazy. And sometimes they're going through red light without even paying attention, because Seattle is the place where it's a making of a lot of transplant like myself, moving from different places, and they just don't pay attention, and they can't for some reason walk or drive on the street. I'm sorry, I just had to put it out there. Awesome. You're interviewing for legal assistant, but your advice is giving me confidence. Oh, thank you. So you're interviewing for a legal team. One thing I should mention is, deferring back to my why Amazon video, I have a friend who a long time ago, when she got hired as a junior, is a level 4. Level 4 is junior mid-level for the legal team, and she was asked to write a writing example. Depending on what the role calls for non-tech, there are some position, you don't have to be a level 6 and above, that will require a writing exercise, okay? So that's a good question to ask the recruiter, so that you could at least prep for it and know what you're getting yourself into. Hey, Jose. High five to you. Jose says, how long should each response take? 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. No, 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 and no. Those of you who are there, especially Anlu, you know that I am not a fan of anything more than 60 seconds. I know that recruiter will prep you for 2 to 3 minutes. I know for a fact that other career coaches will tell you to go a couple minutes. Listen, if I'm interviewing you and all your answer is at least 2 to 4 minutes, I'm going to fall asleep on you. It doesn't matter how good your question is, save that. You want to give a minute or so because you want to allow the interviewer to ask you probing questions. Guys, each interviewer is going to have anywhere between 3 to 4 questions to ask you. The interview is scheduled for 45 minutes because it's rare to have a full minutes now. Normally in an event prior to COVID-19, because an interviewer is rushing off another meeting or finding the conference room, getting lost, opening up the resume. They're unprepared, right? That's what the full hour is for, minus the 15 minutes for them to get ready to interview you, right? So let's start. The interview is 45 minutes. The first 5-10 minutes is introduction for the interviewer, and so tell me about yourself. So why are you interested in this position? Small talk, right? You get into the actual interview half an hour. So right there, you guys do the math. It's half an hour long, right? Half an hour, do the math. 4 questions. Let's just say that you are able to answer each questions within a minute or less. Now, remember, the interviewer with the 3 to 4 questions that his or her, I can't talk, that they have probing questions. So each questions they're asking you, they have about 3 to 4, even 5 or 8 probing questions. You do the math. That's like 20 minutes there, 20 minutes to almost half an hour. That is how important it is for you to keep it short, straight to the point. Okay? I know a lot of you who's watching, many people disagree with me, but guess what, guys? In my group coaching session and also my private session with my clients, again, without knowing your background, and I can't do your job better than you can. I can take everything you say in 4 minutes and put it in down to 15 to 30 seconds. That makes sense, because all I care about is I'm going to tell you the situation, the problem that I'm going to solve. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to solve it, ending this result, and then I'm going to shut up, allowing you to ask me probing questions. So I'm trying to teach you to deliver your question in a sense where you're opening a can of worms and allowing them to ask probing questions, because you are engaging them. Okay, you're not putting them to sleep, and now they're excited to know, what, you just saved the company $500,000 in costs year over year, 15-20%. How did you do that? Can we talk about that a little bit more? How were you able to execute that? Right? You give them an answer, right? Perfect. Wow. What was the most challenging part of that project? Because it's a big deal that you're able to save an organization that much money. What was the most challenging part of that project for you? That's a second probing questions, right? I can go on. I can give you 5 more just based on something that I've just said. And yes, that's absolutely what I will do if I should interview you. And I have, right? I've sat through a lot of it. I've interviewed program managers, technical program manager, product managers, but non-tech questions, because I'm not an engineer. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Anytime when someone says, if anyone else tells me the recruiter prepped me to 2 to 3 minutes, please don't do that. I mean, it's going to make you nervous. When you talk for that long, even if you have something amazing to say, it will go down. You're starting really good and boom, it will go down. If you continue talking for that long, that 2 to 3 minutes will stretch to 15 without you even knowing. Okay? If you like what I just said, give me a thumbs up. Gloria says, let me make this a little smaller, guys. Gloria says, thanks again for the great session. I'm being considered for multiple TPM roles in 2 teams. That's awesome. Amazing. Economics and pricing. Cool. I don't know much about the economics team, but I've heard great things about the pricing team. Any tips on preparing for technical part as 2 teams are different? That's an excellent question, by the way. First, I'll give you my take, but you do want to defer back to my previous stream, right? Just you can even Control F and put TPM interview tips or technical program manager interview tips. go there, and because I've talked a lot, there's a lot of TPM coming in every single live stream, okay? Excuse me. The common denominator is pricing or not, your job, I'm assuming, is to build the platform or the features for the products, okay? You are going to collaborate with engineers, most likely the designer, to design in this case, let's talk about economics, even though I know nothing about the team, the platform that they're using, right? For the pricing, obviously, the features for pricing, right? So there's so many common denominator that's really, really simple. But at the end of the day, how you meet the technical bar is the same thing for both group. So obviously you came from, I don't know your resume, I don't have your background in front of me, but obviously economics and pricing are very, very similar, right? You must have come from some sort of purchasing or pricing background where you have built features to improve overall pricing in delivering for the end user, which is the external customers, or sometimes external and internal customer. So I would have to know how you design the systems architecture, system design architecture very well. For example, and I've actually sat through interviewers, I've sat through all of the hiring managers when I was in consumer, because the feedback that I've gathered from candidates like you guys are not positive. So that led me to shadow all of the interview to make sure that they're showing up well for you guys as interviewer. And some of the hiring manager or senior folks, actually, this is actual live questions, not this one. This is just an example from me, is how do you design a pricing model using systems architecture? If I'm curious to know, here's the problem right now, and how do you solve this problem? Can you design a model that would work using your systems architecture? Really, go design, go for it, right? Or I can, not me specifically, but I wanted to see how, what you're able to think. Are you able to dive deep? Are you able to think big in asking? And you can ask out loud, right? Well, first, I wanted to know what the user's current pricing model is. I wanted to know what our current tool is. What is it lacking based on customers' feedback? I want to make sure the systems architecture is aligned with current feedback that meets the customer's pain point. You see what I'm doing? I'm tying it back up to the customer, right? Now, this is not the actual question from Amazon. I am making this up as I'm going, right? But if I were to interview you, let's just say that all hell break loose, the person who's interviewing you, who's asking you the tech questions can't make it, and I just have to fill the spot and prep you before they come in. I would just say you need to know how to design the architecture from scratch, right? And how are you able to do that? Okay, and even if you if there's a scenario where there's already a system in place, how do you re-architecture to make it better? So here's a scenario of what Amazon Economic is doing right now, and where do you see the gap in that? This is your opportunity to think big and dive deep. Ask probing questions, right? What's working, what's not working, and who are the customers, right? What are the main what's the main point that you're trying to fill the gap, and how are you going to fill that gap to make sure that you're able to attract more customer into this platform, and also the existing customer is getting more, I don't want to say bang for their buck, more of a user experience that they will enjoy it. It's Amazon. I'm pretty sure they have to sometime pay for a premium or what type of services that you can add on to this platform. Okay, it's a little bit long-winded, but if I'm prepping you, if I'm your recruiter, that's how I would prep you. Okay, and generally I spend about at least half an hour prepping someone for an on-site. I'm not an engineer. I'm just on the recruiting side. All right. Ooh, whoa. Sorry guys, I almost dropped my microphone. Hey, Mike the Man. Mike the Man says, if you had 2 interviews with Amazon and the last one was a virtual interview, they move with different candidate, are you able to apply again for the same position, or do you have to wait for 6 months? Then you would have to wait. Normally, if they move on to a different candidate and you don't meet the bar, you're not going to meet the bar in 6 months if it's a technical issue, right? So it really depends on why you didn't get selected. It could be a number of things. And I'm just being raw because I'm not trying to tell you guys things that you want to hear. I'm being I'm being a realist in sharing my knowledge with you. Most likely, if the recruiters are not willing to share any information for you, if you pause there, if you had to think back of the type of questions that were asked and how you answer it, I guarantee that you guys could pretty much figure out which question where you didn't do well, right? Right? And if it has to do with where you're lacking experience, then you need to gain those experience and re-interview a year later. Okay? You're welcome, Sergio. Hey, Gilbert. Gilbert, I believe this is your first time here. Gilbert says, thank you so much. Amazon is still have not called me. My CV is under consideration for 2 applications with Amazon, and I'm trying to prepare. I'm very frustrated. Shall I wait for the call? Well, I understand your frustration. Your CV just really have to match the job description that you're applying for. Okay. I am going to do a workshop on resume, because resume could be very complex. The biggest tools or advice I can give you guys is, if you look at your CV to get the recruiter to notice you a lot quicker, it needs to match the job description at 80%. Okay. If I look at the environment that you'll be doing and the actual job that you're responsible for, that stuff should be all over your resume. If it isn't, at least 80% of the time, you are considered, but you're also being measured by other candidates who have 100%, right? Normally, for you to be in consideration, if I really like a resume and I don't spend more than 5-10 seconds on it, immediately I'll send you a message. I want to get on the phone with you and see if you can give me more about your background and give me a feel if you would be a potential fit for the role. Okay, that's what I would have done as a recruiter. And I know that a lot of recruiters operate that way, because why wouldn't they want to move fast? They get to keep their job because they are able to hire you, right? So yes, the recruiter's job is to move quick. Camilla says, by the way, thank you so much, guys, for jumping on. I totally didn't expect anyone to be here except 1 or 2 people that I have actually pinged while responding to the LinkedIn. The hiring manager asked for my availability for the phone interview. I provided it, but haven't heard back about a week. I keep preparing for the interview, but I didn't have a date. Yeah, it's just, I think the challenge here is that people are people are trying to adjust to working remotely as well. Amazon is not a remote culture. It isn't. So I think it's a matter of working remote, and a lot of the employees are trying to adapt with what their priority is. That is the best mindful way I can think of. At the same time, this is not a good candidate experience. Yes, recruiters, I'm calling you out. I would reach back out to the recruiter and follow up with them, because no one should put you on hold for a week while you have an interview pending and not follow up with you. I mean, to me, that's just not acceptable. That's probably why I don't see eye to eye with a lot of the recruiting professionals. The first day I provided is 18. I believe I should email. Yeah, you should absolutely do that, because 18 is around the corner. Okay? This is like killing someone from a recruiting background's ear. John says, my loop interview is for IoT security. And the recruiter sent me a PowerPoint template with expectation. I'm not sure if the presentation is geared towards technical and specific position. If you're not sure if this is a case, I would defer back to the PowerPoint, to the job description. Sorry, I'm looking at your note and not the camera. I would look back at your prep material and look back at the job description to see what the common denominator is. And I would ask the recruiter some questions, okay? It is really the recruiter's job to go back to the hiring managers to coach him or her to make sure that they understand this role very well, so that they can prep you guys. Okay? And John, I know that you've been my loyal follower for a while now. If you want me to take a look at the PowerPoint template, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. Every now and then I'll pick one individual and give them a little bit more attention, because you guys have also come back every week to support my channel's growth as well as benefiting yourself. Okay. Hey, Gilbert. Gilbert says, sorry to mention applying for business development manager. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of biz dev that's applying for ops and AWS. For Dubai, awesome. Dubai is such a beautiful place. It's on my to-do list, hopefully one day. Hey, Daniel, welcome back. Daniel says, I just want to say thank you for all your advice. Interview went well on Tuesday. Yay! Hang on. Do you guys like that? I figure I should spice things up a little bit here. Great job. It went well on Tuesday. I was told successfully passed the interview for ops manager. Great. What is the next step, Daniel? Awesome. Good job. You're welcome, Maureen. Jose, did I pronounce that? Jose, I need one that just go. Jose says, benefit support specialist is the role I'm applying for. It's an L5 position. Is it okay to use the same example for a couple of the interview? Is it you never want to use the same example? Okay. I've talked about this, and at least one person asked on all the live stream. You don't. And Lou, my friend, if you're still here, please say why you should never use the same example. Because as mentioned, when it comes time to a debrief, you don't want 5 or 6 or 7 people around the table to talk about, hey, wait a minute. Josie gave me the same example at the time that he did this. Well, does he have other experience? It sounds like he's really limited the amount of exposure he has for this role. Okay? You do not want that. Try and do your best to drag other short stories around the behavioral questions. Try to do your best. And if you don't have it, just simply say that you don't have that specific experience, but can you offer similar experience that may not be all that relevant. That answer is better than saying that you don't have anything. What will kill you is having the same example. Oh, thanks, Daniel. In the end, my advice to all is to be sincere. Know the principle and use the star to describe your example. Yay! I get super excited when you mention the star. Well, the thing is, guys, every single time, I would say almost every day, I have comments on my YouTube channel. I have about 32 videos now, not too much, but a lot of them, the more I start talking about the star, the more I would have professionals that have never worked with me before and never been to any of my live, don't even know what my style is. They probably just Google the star methods on google.com and disagree with me without diving deep into doing the homework and why a company like Amazon that is still hiring one of the top performing talents, why they're able to acquire a company every single week, right? Why they're still the only company that's hiring like madness right now, and why I am talking about the star method, because it works, right? So before having negative feedback about any processes or anyone, I would encourage all of you guys who's watching right now, not the ones who is asking me questions, but before you make a negative remark, if it's not for you, just move on, right? It takes a lot for any content creator, and I'm speaking up for all of us here to just come here, spend time, and truly want to add value into our audience and protect our community. And those comments obviously would get deleted, right? Hey, CJ. CJ says, can you please help me with story template? I actually have a template, which is my own personal template from Amazon. It's called the STAR method technique. By the way, let me type right here for you guys, okay? It's halsey.com/freebies. Okay? Right there. The link is right there. If you go there, there's a video that's called the STAR method. A, watch the video. B, download. It is free. There is no catch. You're not buying anything from me. You're not paying me anything. There's no catch. That is my actual real life experience at Amazon. I've done that for almost a year ago. I probably should go back and revamp it to make it better. but that is enough information for me to fill out what is the situation I'm trying to say. Why do I need to build a team and write a white paper to get a budget approval? How did I do it? I presented it in Jeff Wilkie, who is the right-hand person for Jeff Bezos, on the consumer retail space, right? To his exec for Heartline's 14 category at the time, get the budget approval to build the team expand and hire 2 global dev center from nothing, from no tech team, not even a physical office, to building that in 8 months. And how did I do that? So I did all of that in 1 minute. I'm able to give you that example, and that is my template. Okay? So please, guys, do the work and then come back to me to tell me that it doesn't work. Okay? If I get rejected, can I apply to other business intelligence position? If you get rejected, I would pause before applying because everyone can see your feedback, right? Again, and I'm going to repeat this one more time. If you sit back and think about the questions and answers during your interview, you pretty much will know what areas you didn't do well in. I will try to improve in those areas before you reapply, at least at the bare minimum 6 months. If it's a soft skill, if it's a technical skill, at least a year. And if you're in the same job, doing the same role and having gained those experience, then you need to practice probably interviewing somewhere else and then coming back to interview at Amazon. I actually, I still have a lot of friends at Amazon who are bar raisers actually. And I actually asked them to come on a show like this. But the thing that I have to be very cautious about, I've actually pre-recorded my interview with tech leaders at, Facebook, Amazon, Google, and so on and so forth. I'm very hesitant to release those live because I'm also protecting their image. And I want them to check with the corporations to see if the legal and marketing team give us a thumbs up before doing so. But in general, the biggest tip that I got from like Bar Raiser at Amazon specifically is, if Amazon is your dream company, you really want to work for Amazon to improve your skills and growth in general, you need to interview with other companies. Don't do a lousy job or get a job and decline it. When you interview with other companies, make sure you want to work with those companies as well. They're just not your first choice, right? So if you don't get a job offer, you will get bumped, but not as bumped as your dream company. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up and say yes if that makes sense to you guys. Hey, Fatima. Oh, my allergies killing me. Fatima says, how does the first interviewed have behavioral questions or just general questions? It depends. Great question, by the way. It depends on who the interviewer is, okay? Most interviewer would give you at least one behavioral questions because it's important for them to know more about your background, right? They want to know if you have, for example, at least customer obsession or diving deep and thinking big. To ask you a questions around that to know that you are a culture fit or have the fundamental for the role, right? And from the moment you are on the phone with the recruiter and you have your first phone interview, I would really prep on those behavioral questions, okay? Phone interviewer or on-site loop or panel, you want to call it, they are all assigned leadership principle, okay? So the leadership principle could be any of the 14, and generally it's about 2. The first one, the technical interview, you need to be able to meet at least 70 to 80% of the job description before you move on to the on-site interview. And that's how they know if you're a potential fit. Okay? Wow, this is the first time that I am live streaming for less than 1 hour. Do you guys have any more questions? If you don't, I will let you go. Thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with me. I'm simply just live streaming today, testing out some new tools. And I'll rewatch this and see what I could do better in showing up better for you guys. Okay, I speak to... Oh, here it is. Oh, Shifan. And I'm sorry, guys, if there's a little delay because of hotel Wi-Fi, it is lower than a snail. But I promise you, I'm so excited. I'll be able to move back home end of June and probably have my studio set up first week of July. So can we get a hallelujah here? I'm so excited because I want to come on, turn on my camera, turn on my light, and everything is perfect and ready to go where I don't have to worry about my sound or anything like that. So, hey Shivan. Shivan says, how do you answer questions when there's little to no information or data about the analyst positions? Well, first of all, if you look at the job description, there should be information. Secondly, there's a bunch of analyst position behavioral questions on Glassdoor. I know this because I've actually helped my clients on that. Okay. And thirdly, if you have absolutely no clue at all, and this is how you guys prep for your interview. Okay. Look at your resume and your background. The interviewer will find questions around what you have already done. They're not going to ask you questions off the wall to make you uncomfortable. Okay, so if you don't know how to prep at all, that's why you have to have your personal and your professional branding on your credential well. I also have that service on halsey.com. It's called Branding, where I reviewed your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and I'll also provide your interview prep to tell you how to create your storytelling. And it is a 2+ hour session with me. Okay, if you're interested in that, and that's how you find me. Oh, Camilla, you're actually coming in from Brazil. That's awesome. I've always have a love for Brazil. You know, I'm a big foodie. I embarrassing to say, I actually have a second channel. It is my mommy blog. I'm embarrassed. I don't even promote it or talk about it. I just don't have time to do much work, so it's on pause right now. But that is that's going to be my travel channel, and Brazil is higher on my list. In consulting company in Brazil, and I've made a huge difference. How to sound big, relevant to the interview. In the last stream, I don't think you were there, Camila. I talked about what if you come from a consulting background or a startup? How do you use that experience to an Amazon? Well, guess what, guys? For those who are not aware, let me put my mic closer to my mouth here. Amazon, it is a company that makes up of a bunch of startup. So Amazon is startup, okay? So you want to importantly talk about what you have built, what you have done, and how quickly you are to deliver results with the challenges you're trying to solve, okay? And if you have any information on influencing XYZ number of clients or XYZ saving money on a budget on the companies or your customer, you want to highlight all of that. And if you have experience scaling it beyond just Brazil, or let's just say South America or globally, you absolutely want to share about that. Okay, does that make sense? So that's how you stay relevant and stay high level. Hey, Aluya. Aluya says, oh, you're welcome. I have an interview with Chime. Do you have any recommendation on this platform, as I've never used it? It's funny that you ask, because I left Amazon about 2 years ago. And during that time, they were just piloting Chime for internal employees. The video function wasn't even there yet, so I can't give you too much feedback. I can tell you that it's very similar to Slack. So Chime is an internal Slack where teams communicate, and there's also a video function where it's a one-stop shop for corporate meeting, communication, as well as interview. Okay? Don't be nervous. It's just like any other chat platform. You do want to check out my video interviewed playlist. I have a playlist for everything, guys. Okay. That is the first video where I tell you exactly how to show up. You see, like this right here, my audio is, this is in front of me. I'm doing this because I'm not at home. So I don't have my boom pole to hold this. If my audio is like this, you hear the difference, right? So if my audio is closer to me, or you simply just do this, this is beautiful. Just any headset, whatever headset that you have, the audio is immediately better than your laptop. I will advise you guys to not use the audio off of your laptop because it's very echoey and the sound is pretty bad, okay? I don't have any light at all, okay? Basically, I shut off all the light. I have a small little tiny light in front of my camera, or in front of your laptop in this case. Okay, so the video interview gives you a high level with also, I have a template for everything as well. Download the template. I put the link in the chat screen. It is hallsley.com/freebies. Okay, and I've spent a lot of my work creating those templates for you guys. Again, it helps you to know how to show up professionally in frame. I get this picture because I'm actually using a Sony 6400 camera to get this look. You do not have to. That's killing it. I'm doing it because I'm a content creator. You can simply just, ironically, I have it right in front of me, right here. This is just a webcam, guys, okay? This is a webcam that cost me $97. Well, now webcam is a little bit overpriced because of COVID-19 and everybody's working remotely, but you can get any of the Logitech webcam on Amazon, because once you have a job at Amazon, and I'm just going to assume that you're going to land the job at Amazon with any employer, if you're not working right now affected with a layoff, or if you are already working with an employer and having meeting, it just help you sound better with earphone, and you need a webcam. Okay, the webcam on the monitor, even having client meeting, it is killing me because I see their forehead like this, right? And we wasted 5-10 minutes just getting them in frame. The webcam automatically give you something like this. You can get this look right here by Logitech 920, which is one of the lower scale, and at the time it's about $90 to $100. And this is not just for your Amazon interview. This is for all interviewed, all meetings. Okay, you want people to take you seriously. You can't show up with broken images or people looking at your nose up, or you guys get the idea. Okay, so this is a frame. You want to be right in the middle of the frame. This is Shapi. Can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Absolutely. Let me put my LinkedIn on here. Oops, sorry guys, that must have hurt your ear. It is linkedin.com/HollyLee. Okay, so that's my LinkedIn. And if you need to get in touch with me, all of my information, if you go to my LinkedIn, if you go to contact, all of my links are on there. Okay, I'm very easy to find. Hey, Satendra from UK. Oh, I truly miss Europe. The European coffee, it's so different from American coffee. UK is in semi-lockdown and all interviews are currently remote in Chime. I think worldwide right now, I personally don't know any company that require their staff to be in the office. I think everything is going to be remote for a while. Okay? Would it be fair to say the entire interview process with being remote? Yes. In fact, not only that, and that's why I showed you guys one of my webcam and just audio looking good. Even if you have your job, you're going to be on board remotely. Okay, you're going to have an onboarding buddy. It doesn't matter what company you have a job offer with. Okay, so you need to get used to the remote. But the good thing about the pandemic is now it's allowing organization to be more open in having their employee work from home. After working for myself, I'm a big fan of working remotely as much, if not 100%, because I start my day at 7 a.m. And there are days that I start working at 6 a.m. It goes all day. I work longer hours at home. Even for myself, or prior to the COVID-19, I actually have a couple pre-IPO startup as a principal consultant for them. Unfortunately, I too am affected with the pandemic with the corporate clients. But you know what? It's allowing me more time to hang out with you guys. I love it. It's a win-win for everybody. Hey, Mr. Mr. says, they sent me a labor allocation table without really any questions associated with it. When you're in doubt, labor allocation is it could be a very complex thing. I would ask what they mean by that. I know sometimes when people in a rush, when they're moving so fast, they're missing little stuff. I would ask to clarify what all that's about. Okay, I'm going to count to 3. If you guys don't have any more questions, I will let you go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Hey guys, I'm back Tuesday, every Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you like my content, I really appreciate giving me a thumbs up in the video. Share with those that can benefit my information, and make sure if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, okay? And hit the bell notification, because when you do that, you do get notified. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. You're welcome. Have a good one. See you guys on Tuesday.